weeks could be the rain moving into the area. The East Coast is already soaked, and we'll see more wet weather from Maine to Florida. The timing and what's in store for your holiday weekend. Jim.
All right, we're talking about places.
How soon do we think that they can build something to get it back up and running?
Hopefully,
who knows right now?
Yeah, hopefully quickly. There's still a lot of recovery to do first. And we want to talk about the conditions that they're going to be dealing with, because we do have a southeast wind around 6 miles an hour. That might not sound like a lot, but that has increased your tidal anomalies. And of course, you're going to get that flow in the water as well. You have localized flooding, moderate flooding around these areas as well as the water is coming up. Not to mention water coming up, it's also going to be falling from the sky. Now, our water temperatures here, they're in the upper 40s to the low 50s, and we are going to get rain, and our highs today only sitting right around 50 degrees. So tough conditions here. And then, of course, hypothermia can set in very quickly, but I'm sure that the people that are doing all these recovery efforts are going to be dressed accordingly for that cold water. But it's still something to keep in mind for us here. There's the Francis Scott Key Bridge right there, and there is actually a buoy where the Francis Scott Key Bridge is located, and so we can see some of the details of what the weather is like there. There's that southeast wind, though, blowing in, pushing the water into all of these bays and all these areas here. Of course, this is the Chesapeake Bay here. And as we go through the morning, we are going to see actually more showers and more thunderstorms develop for us as we go through the day. So watch as this boundary comes in, and we'll get some heavier showers. So obviously, not only is this going to slow down the recovery efforts for us here, but it is going to rough up the water with the winds that come in with this as well. So not really an ideal day for us here when it comes to the weather. We do have a few showers probably Thursday morning with the system kind of hanging off the coast. And then as we head into our Friday and Saturday, we will have sunnier skies and warmer temperatures for us here. But these are those tidal alerts that I was mentioning for us here with the coastal flooding, not only from the rain, but from that push of the water that's going to be coming in. And you can see the tides, and today how, listen, we're not going to be at like an exceptionally high, major flood stage, but, Jim, we're definitely a little bit higher than we'd like to see right now.
Yeah, and this for
Boston. I am standing in Boston Common, compliments of our virtual view technology. Clouds changing over to rain, making it a late week soaker. So you want your umbrella not only today, but on Thursday too, because that low pressure that Jim was talking about is going to slide up the coast here. There's a chance for flooding. All of this complements of the front we have coming through today, and then that coastal low. Boston is close to a 5-inch surplus on rainfall for the year. And it's not just Boston, it's a lot of places here in the Northeast. I was looking at a lot of them. Everyone's like 2, 3, 4 inches above average for the year. So this is system number one. I'm just going to label it system number one to make it a lot easier to kind of wrap your brain around what's happening here. You can see that nice southwesterly flow bringing the showers and storms up the East Coast. A little bit of rain. They're all just very light right now. I think we'll see heavier rain as we head through the day today. And notice how it gets much more abundant once we head around that noontime hour, stretching from Maine all the way down into the south. At 11 o'clock, it is still raining out. Then we are going to see that coastal entity continue to keep us wet as we head into our Thursday, especially here in New England, into our Friday. And we will have some breezier conditions along the coastal areas as well. That finally pulls out. But look at the winds here on Saturday. So, yes, you might have the weather out of here when you're talking about precip, but the weather in the form of strong winds, they are still going to be gusting for us Saturday morning. So if you go out early for that Saturday morning coffee, if you live in a place where you kind of walk to the coffee shop, or you still like to go get the paper. That used to be a thing back in the day, right? Get the coffee, the paper. You want to sit outside. You're not going to be able to sit outside reading the paper because it's going to be all over the place, and you'll be, struggling with it and fighting with it. But as we have that rain coming in, yeah, there's a possibility of some flooding here, but it's not like it's a huge, expansive amount of rain that's going to come in. 1 to 2, 2 to 3 inches. Maine will get the heaviest stuff here as everything kind of pulls north and it continues to rain out. But over the past 7 days, 3 to 5 inches where you see the yellow on the map. It has been a wet start to the year for us here. And then snow, a nice little strip here, 5 to 8 inches into northern Maine from Bar Harbor up to Caribou. The GFS has it a little bit heavier and a little bit more inland, but rain will really be the name of the game for us here. Another couple of inches here in and around Boston. Jim. It is Wednesday, March 27th at America's Morning Headquarters. Rain and storms dominate the I-95 corridor today, stretching from Maine to Florida. The East gets a late week break as we head into the holiday weekend. But I'll tell you what, things stay active for us in the West. We are going to see rounds and rounds of moisture, and then some of that will eventually be making its way into the plains and the Midwest. Of course, March, we're starting to round it out, Jordan. I don't know, March went really fast. I feel like the beginning of the year was slow.
Right.
And then March just flew by.
We had a lot of weather systems, obviously.
Low pressure coming on through. And of course, that is going to perhaps put a damper on some spring breaks. And I thought, who is still having spring break? And it turns out Chicago Public Schools are on spring break this week. So maybe your school district is. Send me a tweet. Whose?
Ours.
Yours is next week?
Next week.
It is, sheesh.
Next week.
That is wild to me, because everyone's starting to talk about graduation, right? So today, showers and storms along the first coast. We do have some breezy conditions, nothing too terrible right now. But look at these water temperatures. By the way, the Atlantic waters are closer to June this time already. So this is not good that our water temperatures are so warm already, and we're still so far away from hurricane season. You do need to watch out for rip current risk here. Even if you are a strong swimmer, make sure that you stay out of the water where it's a high rip current. At the top of the hour in America's Morning Headquarters, while storms take aim at the rain that's moving into the area, the East Coast is already soaked with more wet weather from Maine all the way down to Florida. The timing and what's in store for your holiday weekend. Jim.
All right, guys, places.
Recovery mode, at least for right now.
Yeah, so let's talk more about that and what they are going to be dealing with as they are out in this area. Through the day today. This is the Francis Scott Key Bridge. That is the area that is cut off for now. And as you can see, a few showers will be going over this area as we go through the day today. We have a southeast wind that's pushing water into the Chesapeake Bay, into this area as well. We do have actually a buoy here at the Francis Scott Key Bridge, so we can see what's happening there when we're talking about water temperature, air temperature, winds and whatnot. We know the water temperatures here are in the upper 40s, and we are going to see that southeast flow today push that water, and it's also going to be coming from the sky as well. So we could see moderate flooding. We could see minor flooding, not only from the rain coming down, but also those tide levels as well. And as you heard in that story that Jordan just showed you, they also have to worry about the water movement here, and that obviously adds another level of difficulty for us here. So as we go through the day, we do have to watch for this coastal flooding because we have numerous tide cycles that are going to come in and out, and they're not, record setting, but they're enough where you are going to get some flooding in some of these areas for us. And then you have the rain that's going to come down too. Our temperature is currently in the 40s. We're only going to get into the 50s this afternoon, but we will see heavier rain. This also brings wind with it, so this will definitely slow those recovery efforts that are happening as the rain goes all day today and lingers into tomorrow morning. And then we will actually see some improving conditions for our Friday and Saturday, and some warming conditions as well. Here's that tide cycle for you. This is near the Key Bridge, and you see that it does go up and down. Again, it's not dramatic. We're not going to major flood stage, but this is enough in order to cause some coastal flooding in a spot that we just don't need any type of weather right now, Jim.
Horrible situation.
Not so beautiful here in Boston. We are in Boston Common, compliments of our virtual view technology, so we can show you what it's actually going to look like. You're going to get the clouds, you're going to get the rain. We actually have two systems coming through. So it is going to be a wet one for our Wednesday, and then as we head into our Thursday and even into our Friday as well. So let's have a look at who else is going to see rain that looks like this, because it's not just Boston. This is system number one. I'm going to call it that just to make this easy to understand. And by the way, a lot of places don't need the rain that's going to come in with this because we are all well above average. Boston nearly 5 inches above average. Southerly flow ahead of this front. That's very typical. That's how these things work, bringing up that moisture. And notice how it gets more robust as we head into the afternoon hours. Showers stretching from New England all the way down into the south, and it keeps going. So why does it keep going? Even though that front has kind of faded out, well, this is our low pressure we keep talking about coming up the coast. I'm standing in front of it. There's the center of the low for you. And you can see that it's still going to be tossing rain into places like Rhode Island, Connecticut, Maine, as we head into New Hampshire as well. Look at on Saturday morning. I'll tell you what, it's going to be nasty into Maine with that snow and that wind cranking like that. Woo, we could see a little bit of rain for us. Maybe some flooding. Overall, it's going to be kind of that 1 to 2, some of us seeing 2 to 3. Heavier showers here in the south as we look at Carolina and Virginia. But over the past 7 days, there's been a lot of rain, 3 to 5 inches for us, where you see the yellow here on the map. And now we're going to put more on top of it. It's just been a soggy mess for us. I know a lot of people are kind of sick of the rain. Snowfall, the European has our 5 to 8 inches here from Bar Harbor inland. The GFS, a little bit heavier there with maybe up to 2 feet. The winds with this thing into Friday, notice how we have 20, 30, even 40-mile-an-hour winds, so that could make for bumpy flights. You might not get service because the captain has a flight attendant, just staying seated because it is so bumpy out there. You can't get the carts in the aisles. 2 inches of rain through Friday here into Boston, Gloucester, Worcester, Franklin. All of these areas where we've been missing out on the snow. We just did not have a good winter up here. So many of us are 2, 3 feet below average on snowfall in the interior. Some of us are 5 feet below average on snowfall, like around Syracuse. But the rain is going to stick around for us here into our Friday. Thankfully, it does clear out, though, as we head into the weekend. Showers into Norfolk as well, over towards Wakefield. This is where we're going to get a little bit of that heavier rain for us with that low pressure really cranking it out for us. And you have this rain from the boundary before that as well. So we kind of get hammered here in the Hampton Roads region. Jordan.
All right, so one of my...
March 27th at America's Morning headquarters, rain and storms, they are going to dominate the East Coast, not only through the day today, but over the next couple of days. From Florida to Maine, we have got a soaker of a day today, and then another low pressure that's going to ride up the East Coast. And I'll tell you what, in the West, we have some rain coming in today, and we do actually stay quite active all the way through our holiday weekend. Some of that moisture will eventually stretch to the east. All right, let's have a look at where we are seeing the worst weather right now, and we are going to check in with Jordan and that southeast rain. We had a severe thunderstorm warning up.
We did. Steph, you need...
That would be cool if we had one.
How do I get up there to talk about... Yeah.
Let's see how my...
Okay, hold on. She wants to jump.
No, I can't.
Come on.
No, I'm
You're
good.
in heels. You can't do it.
You're going to break a heel.
You're right.
Good.
She'll break a heel.
Construction workers are presumed dead after the catastrophic bridge collapse in Baltimore. Search efforts are expected to resume later this morning near the Francis Scott Key Bridge, but weather could hamper operations. Now, federal authorities are investigating. Chris Van Cleve with our partners at CBS News has the latest. And the National Transportation Safety Board did not give an estimate on how long this investigation will take, but says this will take some time. There's no doubt Baltimore commuters will be facing long-term challenges. Jordan.
So as we kind of...
America's Morning headquarters. While those impacts could be the rain moving into the area, the East Coast is already soaked, and we've got another low pressure here developing. We're going to let you know where we could see more wet weather from Maine to Florida, and the timing also what's in store for your holiday weekend. Jim.
That is one busy port.
Of course, Steph, for all the investigations to get done, for the bodies to be recovered, and then we can start cleanup and then building again.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the conditions they're going to be dealing with, at least here over the next couple of days when they move to these recovery efforts. And we can now show you a before of the Francis Scott Key Bridge and then an after to show you just how big this was. I mean, I think we all have the scope now in our hand, and notice that with this water flowing, it's really hard as well. You have different tides, you have different currents. We have a southeast wind around 6 miles an hour today, so that's going to slow things down. Of course, this is a major thoroughfare that will take time to be rebuilt. And the water temperatures, as they are out there in the upper 40s, there's a buoy right here at the Key Bridge, and it's in the upper 40s. It's in the 50s when you go a little bit farther out into the Chesapeake Bay, but it's cold regardless, and you saw everyone bundled up out there as well because it's only in the 50s. We have rain coming in. We're also going to see minor to moderate flooding due to all the water kind of being pushed into the bay for us here. And as we head through the day, look at the coastal flood warnings. There are also rain coming out of the sky and that push of water as well, and multiple tide cycles. So there is going to be some flooding issues here, and the showers are just starting to come in. They'll get more abundant as we go into the afternoon. They're also going to get a lot heavier too. So that is probably going to slow things down for us here when you have the heavier rain and the wind coming in. It just makes conditions really tough to work in here and probably dangerous at times for some of the crews that are out there doing all this recovery. Friday and Saturday, though, much better weather here with sunshine. much warmer temperatures. In fact, I think later in the day on Thursday, we'll see improvements too as that low pulls away. But here are your tide cycles. Notice going up and down. Yes, it's not in moderate or major flood stage, but we're still seeing it higher than we'd like, Jim. Obviously, the lower the better, but we are going to go through a couple cycles here, keeping us in action stage.
You know, Steph, I was reading.
I am standing in Boston Common, compliments of our virtual view technology. Clouds are going to change over to rain, so we're going to get some showers here today, even into tomorrow. So it's going to be a late week soaker for us here into New England. It's not just Boston, though, that has a chance for showers and also flooding. It's several other areas, too. We have a coastal low that is coming on up, and we have a surplus of rain here into Boston. We don't really need any more. We are nearly 5 inches above average on rainfall for the year, and that's the story with a lot of cities. I went through a lot of them. They're 2, 3, 4+ inches above average for rainfall, either for the month or the year. We do have a southerly flow here in our warm sector, which is pretty typical, bringing the moisture up for us here, and this will get much more robust as we head into the afternoon hours. So showers and storms all along the I-95 corridor into this evening. Good sleeping weather, though. Am I right? As we go into our Thursday, watch our low pressure that comes out of the southeast move and still bring us rain, even into our Friday morning here into New England. That pulls out, hanging on, though, Saturday morning in Maine. I'll tell you what, it is going to be gnarly Saturday morning in Maine with the snow and all of this wind as well. And you can see another system, just a little one. Now, this next one's not too potent, but that little guy is going to come on through as well. There is the possibility of some flooding. I think it'll be very localized here for us. 1 to 2 inches with the heaviest stuff into Maine and also down into Virginia and North Carolina with the 3 to 5. And we've seen 3 to 5 over the past 7 days for us here. Anywhere you see the yellow shading on the map, that's where we've had those 3 to 5 inches of rain. Speaking of 5, we get 5 to 8 inches of snow into Maine, with the GFS having it a little heavier and more interior, up to maybe 2 feet of it. The winds will also be pretty rough. Look at Friday at 3 p.m. You're going to be bouncing around. This could potentially delay some flights. If not, you could have turbulence where they make you stay in your seats and you can't get those snacks that everyone loves. Some airlines have some really good snacks, to the point where I feel like, you know, you miss them. And then it's such a treat sometimes when you get on to some of these flights.
Like what?
Well, I don't want to name names, but there's a certain cookie on a certain flight.
Oh, those cookies
that
are
I don't eat frequently.
I love those cookies.
But when
They're
you
great.
get on the flight.
Yeah. When I was overseas, too, they had full-on, like, egg salads.
At the beginning of April. But as you can see, we are a little bit ahead of schedule here. It's been warm, Jordan, around the country. As you know, the warmest February, winter. I mean, every month is the warmest on record around the world.
You know what I've seen less of, which makes...
Or the vuvuzelas either.
The what?
Remember the vuvuzelas? They would blow that horn. You don't remember that when those were super popular?
What is that?
During the soccer? You don't remember those?
Oh, the long,
the loud
skinny...
horns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. The quarters has you covered through the mid-morning hours. Jen Carfagno, Alex Wallace are here with a look at what's coming up at 9 a.m. I know you're talking snow. I can't believe Minneapolis had more snow from Winter Storm Sawyer than all winter.
It's nuts. Absolutely insanity.
Yeah, just one big heaping bolt. What did you say? Heaping mess?
No, you sort of the anticipation.
Or...
We will.
We will.
Oh, okay.
We can't give it all
I
away.
almost got it out.
No, you did.
Jen saved you there. He almost gave the answer.
More about that. And, of course, following on all the other big stories, including what's coming.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it, guys. See you in what? 30 minutes.
More people are getting into the out there, right? Planning trips to experience beauty in the outdoors and trying to do so without breaking the bank.
And one state has a very special anniversary at a state's park. Here to talk about it is Ohio State Parks Ohio Department of Natural Resources Director Mary Mertz. Mary, thank you for joining us today. So what's going on at Ohio State Parks this year, and why is it so special?
Absolutely.
Parks are going to be in totality.
So in total,
Solar eclipse, which is happening on Monday, April 8th. Just for those, I mean, we're so involved, we're so in it. We're like,
oh my gosh,
everyone has to see this,
Monday
right?
coming up.
Speaking of everyone, let's talk about, you know, being inclusive and the role that plays in the state parks, expanding the outdoors for people of all backgrounds.
5th anniversary for the parks, but also the personnel. You're celebrating them too, aren't you?
every one of them. We have incredible
Types of weather, too.
Exactly.
You know, that's
exactly.
the thing. Rain, snow, all of it. Mary Mertz, Ohio Department of Natural Resources Director. Thanks you so
Mary.
much.
All right, Jordan, take us walking with the dog, with the poocher.
We've got that dog walk.
Rolls on at 9 a.m. Storms could slow.